Hello, movie lovers. It's been a while since I've seen you guys. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving and are having a good holiday. Tonight, we're going to review episode 3 of Let the Right One In. So let's get it going. Okay. What's up, John?
Nothing much. How you doing, Rossie? And hey, I'm here.
I'm so happy that you're sitting with me. I miss us sitting together doing reviews. So thanks for joining us tonight for Let the Right One In. I'm going to let you start, John. And you guys all know John. Come on. It's John from movieloversunite. Okay. You all know John. John, tell us what you think about the series.
Okay. First off, I'm a big fan of the original movie itself of Let Me In. Then when they said that they were going to do Let the Right One In, I was kind of iffy, kind of hesitant with it because I'm always one of those people that say, look, you don't need to make a movie for make a TV series for every single movie that comes out or whatever. Right. Let the movie be the movie. And it depends on how you do it, and look at Cobra Kai, look at stuff like that. And they managed to do a great job. Now, with this one, I really have to say I really enjoyed it. I really liked the first 2 episodes going into it. I really have that emotional attachment to the characters. I like the detective aspect mixed in with the vampire stuff. It kind of feels like Forever Night, that old 90s TV show with the vampire police officer kind of deal with the detective kind of vibe to it, which I'm sold on. Then you also have the love of the father who's trying to protect his daughter, and the daughter wants to be a normal kid, but she's trying hard not to be a vampire and things like that. And it's that struggle within her. And I like here's another thing though too. I like the chemistry between her and Xavier is probably one of my favorite things too about the show. And he's actually the one that represents us as nerds and someone that likes this magic, that likes different nerdy stuff. Also too, and I remember watching Daybreak, which is also a Netflix original. But I remember where you had this kid that was actually someone of color. He was gay, and he was also a nerd. Which, so being all 3 of those is very hard to actually fit into society in that kind of way. And the way that they are able to do this with this character in that same, and I'm not saying that the Xavier's gay or anything like that, but but what I'm trying to say is to have someone of color to be a nerd and do all this stuff is a different take on it. And it's a fresh take on it. And I really love that about this. And then, you know, you have the love of the father. Then you also have the best friend that's trying to help him. And I love the chemistry between him and the friend. Yes. And then let's talk about the ending episode for episode 2, though. Right. Because I was not expecting because at first I thought it was just some random guy that the father winds up killing off the street because he's very careful of what he does. Yes, he's making sure that he doesn't have no connection, no family, nothing like that before he kills somebody. Then we wind up finding out that that's actually Xavier's father.
Yeah, and
Isaiah's. Sorry about that. Isaiah's father. And matter of fact, whenever you see him in the talent show, and then you see the mother dialing the number, I'm like, oh, this guy's such a ballbag. He's not even answering the call. He doesn't give a crap about his about his son. And then all of a sudden he's dead. I'm like, well, I feel like it's such a horrible person. Because he can't go because he's dead. But I liked how the father goes into the apartment. Yes. And he's looking through the pictures, and that to me, and then his jaw just drops and then he's like, okay, now I gotta tread lightly because now she's a cop, a detective who can bust me. But what was your initial thoughts going into episode 3?
Episode 3, let's see. It was still that the shock of Mark, Ellie's father, finding out that the next door neighbor is not only a cop, but a freaking detective. Okay. And not only that, but her husband, Isaiah's father, is the one that he killed and, you know, gave Ellie the blood from that because she had to feed. And then opening up this episode, he's frantic in his apartment. He's gathering things because he needs to get out of there. There's no way he can live right next door to the detective. And, you know, mind you guys, there's also a murder, a serial killer that's out there. Okay. We have that body that washed up. Remember, we saw that last episode where it's not just any old killer. Like, this guy is gouging. You saw when she put the hand and it fit right into his neck and right into, so we have someone out there, and we think we know it has to be a vampire. That's what I'm guessing that's doing this. But anyways, Ellie's response to coming out of that bathroom. What do you think about the bathroom?
The bathroom scene to me was pretty cool because of the fact that, the glass is broke, so therefore she's making her own little arts and crafts DIY, do it yourself kind of thing. Right. So I thought that was actually pretty crafty. I really liked that. And then she's just trying to be a normal kid, so she's tired of moving. And then when her father's like, look, we got to go. We got to pack. She slams him up against the wall, not realizing her strength. And as a matter of fact, she does another thing later on in this episode where she also doesn't recognize her own strength either.
Right.
We'll get into that a little later. But, then she's like, no, we're staying. And and I think it's logical for them to stay, even though her father's scared.
Right.
Because if they wind up leaving right away, the detective's going to raise a couple of eyebrows.
Oh, absolutely.
So it makes more sense for them to stay than to just run. But Allie doesn't know that. She also doesn't know that she ended up drinking her best friend's blood, father's blood.
Right.
So that's also awkward.
Right.
So
absolutely.
So yeah.
Okay. So what did you think about the talent show last week and what Ellie did? Because remember, Isaiah is being bullied big time. These kids are little bastards. That's what they are. And they're messing with him because of the fact that he's different. Okay. He has his own style. He's a magician. He wants to be. And so they're giving him a hard time at the talent show. What did you think when Ellie raised her hand? When we're going back into last week's episode.
Okay.
Guys.
It's okay. But here's the thing. I thought that was a very sweet moment. And it just shows, hey, look, I have your back no matter what. These kids are assholes. So, I'm going to go on ahead. I'm going to support you in what you love doing, even though I may not understand what a magician is or anything like that either. But it just shows the love and support of a friend.
Right.
And she sees that he's struggling. She sees that he's being bullied. She goes on ahead, goes up the stage and goes behind the curtain. And then, he goes, okay, I'm going to do this trick. I don't know how I'm going to pull this off, but I'm going to do it. That look on his face is so frantic. And so precious as an innocent child.
Right.
So he winds up taking the curtain. He winds up moving it away from her, and then she disappears.
Right.
Then you're thinking, okay, how am I going to go ahead and make her reappear? Because you can see him gritting his teeth. He goes, okay, I did that. That worked. The next thing you know, she pops up on the other side of the auditorium, and then he goes, well, that's my trick. That's my grand finale. I made someone disappear. And then everybody's just calling him Houdini the next day. He's Mr. Popularity now because of this.
Things have changed.
Yes. And then you see the little two idiots.
Yeah.
And they're just still being ball bags to him.
Absolutely. They so he goes to school the next day, and guys, things have changed for him. Like John said, he's Mr. Popularity. Everyone's like just giving him high fives on the trick that he did. And then a kid comes to the classroom, says that the principal wants to see him, and he's asking a kid like, what's up? Do you know what I did? The kid walks away, and what do you know? It's our favorite friends, the bullies. They beat that freaking kid with a bag of ice. Poor kid, because he couldn't tell how he made her disappear, because he still doesn't know how that happened. He's confused by that, and then go ahead, John, take it from there.
Okay. So then of course you also have Allie, who's also worried about her friend as well. And she's like, I'm not getting any text messages back from him or anything like that. And also this is also when her dad, and I like how it's a moment between friends, and also too when she's worried about her friend. And then I like how his friend actually knows that she's a vampire because he gave her his blood to help her. Yeah. So, he's like, look, it's okay. He's in school. It's perfectly fine.
Right.
And most boys don't text back or anything. Oh no, not him. He's really good about texting me back.
Right.
So I like that response.
Right.
But another thing too is, I know I mentioned the father and the best friend, but I like whenever before they actually go over to the Allie's father's
Right.
apartment, he goes over for help because what am I going to do, man? I don't know what to do.
Right.
I'm living next door to a cop. I don't know what I'm going
Right.
to do. I'm going to have to move her out. And
Right.
goes, and then I like how he goes, "What do you want now? You want my restaurant? You want my condo
Right.
now?
Right.
I gave you a car. I gave you a job."
Right.
And then I like how there's this moment of at first you're thinking, okay, maybe his friend's being irritated because of the fact that he just got him this position.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that was actually a pretty interesting thing. And then of course this banter between the two of them was perfect. But
Right.
then that moment in the apartment just illuminates it even more because of the
Right.
fact there's a caring aspect into the characterization of the characters and the background of the history that they've been through. So I
Right.
definitely like that.
Right. So Zeke is Ellie's godfather, we find out. That it's Mark's best friend. And he hasn't seen Ellie since she was a little something. All right. So we know that Ellie's mom has died. We know that. And so when Zeke comes over, because he wants to see Ellie, and what Mark needs from him is Mark needs for Zeke to help him move the body. And we're talking about the body, Isaiah's dad, whose name was Frank. Okay. So, when Mark brings Zeke over to the apartment and Ellie comes out and she's so happy to see him and runs to him, you realize how close they were. And then remember, Ellie goes through flashbacks. So the flashback we see is when she's sitting on a couch with Zeke and they're just, like John saying, they're just talking. And she looks down at, Zeke's hands and remembers the fact that he used to feed her. He used to give blood to help with Ellie. They were the mom, dad, they were all in this together with Ellie. So I love how Ellie says to him, I never had a chance to say thank you because he did a lot before he, came back to New York, Zeke, and started the restaurant. Again, he did a lot for the family, and we'll find out more about how involved Zeke was, with Ellie and Mark. But I love that scene.
I do too. That's a very touching scene. And, I think also too, like, there's also that my aunt also says love scary movies and some TV series too. Right now, I am watching The Mannequin. It's scary, but a short one. Suspense movies are good too. Love you, okay. Love you too, afterwards. But yeah. But here's the thing, though. The thing that I also like is the fact that you have the other scene where the detective, you have the mother that's trying to look for the serial killer, and the detective and the partner, and something winds up happening to him, and she's worried that maybe she put him in danger because of the investigation. Of course, she also winds up seeing this other woman in like full blown the cast and stuff like that. And she's giving her side of the story. But yeah, there is something supernatural there. It's probably a vampire. I wouldn't be surprised.
Absolutely. Because when when Naomi and her partner, after they meet with the woman in a hospital that's been attacked, and she's like, she has a fit. Anyways, they're out on the scene and they're trying to figure out, about where she got attacked, where the person came from. And then they realize that, from under the sewers, it's the possibility that that's where the killer had to have come from. So they go down into the sewers and they walk into a crime scene. I mean, there's bodies everywhere. And then there's a guy that, comes to attack them and his eyes glows that nickel color, And so obviously at that point, guys, we know it's a vampire because we've experienced that on episode 1, episode 2. So we know it's a vampire. And she ends up having to kill him because he attacked the partner, which, traumatizes her because, she's not that type of cop, she's very caring. But that crime scene, what did you think when you saw all the bodies down there?
It was making me wonder, like, how long has this thing been going on? How long has he been under there doing this? And how are they going to be able to stop something that's so supernatural to the point where they might have to use Allie to actually take down this vampire, depending on the age of the vampire. Oh, but my imagination went everywhere with this one scene. But the dead bodies everywhere just blew me away. Very grotesque scene. then the caring for her partner and also trying to be there for him and trying to tell him that it's going to be okay. And then
Right.
you also have that supernatural effect. And I was just wondering, like, how long has this been going on?
Right.
Because of
Right.
the body count.
Right.
So
Because
I
we
thought it was a very good
saw
scene.
Right, because we saw obviously the body count. Just a second. Let's see. Hi, Joanne. Hi. We saw that obviously it's been going on for a while because we saw the body wash up in episode 1. I also want to mention, guys, that remember Claire. Now we're going back to Claire, whose father died, who was that evil pharmaceutical billionaire, and remember Claire wants to be totally different from her dad. She wants to use her science to do good for people and help people. But now she's in a situation where her dad's died, which she's very happy about. Peter is still, she's traumatized from having to witness Peter feed. And she doesn't know where the body came from. The father did not let her know that. We also have Matthew, who is now working for Claire and who's very loyal to Dad and Peter. And right now, what they're going through is they're trying to figure out how to stop the pain because Peter is in a lot of pain. So Claire is working on that. So that's where we are with Claire and the whole situation with Peter,
And
the
the
brother.
thing with Claire and Peter is this, okay? I like the conversation that she has. Look, it's all in your head. This is not who you are.
Right.
Yes, it is. It's a virus. It's feeding through me and coming out of me. And that's the reason why I'm acting the way that I'm acting is because of the fact that of the virus that's taking hold of me and I don't have no control over this.
Right.
And even the part where they do the experiment of the blood in the first or second episode, and the blood packs down, and then now you have a live body because once you have that taste for blood, now you want something more.
Right.
And that's exactly how he feels. Now, the loyalty between what's the other characters? Matthew. Yeah, between Matthew and Peter. Now, the loyalty with Dad, I thought that is going to be a strong suit because of the fact that he's going to be doing a lot of shady stuff.
Right.
Because he doesn't want to operate the way that Claire wants to operate. He wants to do things because he was taught and mentored through his father. So there's going to be that conflict of struggle there to the point where either they're both going to wind up fighting.
Right.
And to the point where Peter breaks out.
Right.
That's my prediction. That's my prediction that Peter's going to break out of there.
Right.
And to the point where now it's up to them to try and find Peter. And therefore they have to try and find similarities within each other to work together once they bring Peter back. Right. That's just my thoughts. What do you think?
I get that too. I think Matthew, as Claire referred to him as her dad's henchman, is not just that. We find out that this is a military guy. He served. And when he got back from service, the dad was really good to him, took him in. So he has that loyalty. But I do feel that way, John, that at some point, Claire is going to have to get on board with Matthew because that's all you have in order to help Peter. No one else knows about Peter. So she's going to have to jump on board. And I do feel like something is going to happen with Peter possibly getting loose, getting out to where Matthew and Claire are going to have to be one to help Peter and to save him from himself, you know? So, and also one thing that, I wanted to note is that when Claire was talking to Peter about the pain that he's in and no medication, helps, the dad had tried everything. But one thing that does help is when he is feeding, he has no pain. And that's the only time. So Claire is going to figure out a way to take that good feeling that he's feeling while he's feeding and to make something, a medication or something for him to take. So that's what we're working on there.
Okay.
Yes.
But yeah, I thought that this was very interesting on the way that they're handling it. And then, then it goes back over into, to our main characters and stuff like that. And I'll let you talk a little bit more about that too.
With the main character. So, after Zeke goes and visits with Ellie and they get to see each other again and she's so happy, Mark then says, hey, I'm in a predicament. I need your help. I got to get rid of this body. And so you see Zeke and Mark out and about. They're in the industrial part of town. And as Mark is going to get the body and bringing it out, Zeke is getting attacked by some drug addict. And remember, guys, the drug that Mark found on Frank, who is Isaiah's dad, remember, it's those little capsules. And the bad part about the drug is that when the people take the drug, they get this superhuman feeling, kind of like what Ellie has naturally. But the come down from that is if they go into the sun, they could catch fire. That's the downfall of taking that drug, but it's very addictive. So that's what that guy was attacking Zeke for, was he thought he was a drug dealer. He wanted the drug. And thank goodness Mark comes out just in time to kind of get the guy off of him. But that last pill that Mark had on him, the drug dealer, the addict ended up running off with. And as Mark's going after him, Zeke's like, you know what? You got to let that go. We need to get this done. So you see them on the riverbank throwing the body in, and Mark and Zeke have this talk. And, remember, Zeke's kind of concerned that by Mark wanting him to help, if anything happens to him with Ellie, Zeke doesn't want to go back to having to help feed and basically be the monster for Ellie. So Mark makes it very clear to Zeke, you don't have to be the monster. You don't have to do that. But if anything happened to Ellie and I, he gives him a necklace, and he basically tells, Zeke that here's the list of all the people that I've killed, who they are, their names, where they live, so that if that were to happen, Zeke can, let them know what happened to their loved one. So, yeah. And that was really deep.
Yeah. Now, this is what I want to talk about. So with that, I know we talked about the drug, but what happens if there's not really a vampire that we're dealing with? What if it's just the drug itself that's causing this?
Very true.
This reaction.
Very true. Yeah. And I didn't even think about that.
Because now I'm thinking like this, okay? So we also have the whole entire aspect with the sun, right? Well, what happens if one of the side effects was where people can't control themselves to the point where they're having these urges that they don't know how to control, and because they can't control it, they're killing people without even meaning to kill them.
That's a huge possibility, because remember, one of the things they love about the drug is the fact that it makes them feel superhuman. So that's quite possible that, and their eyes glowing is maybe the effect of the drug, not an actual vampire. So that's another aspect that I never thought about, but that could be very true. We could just have superhuman people out there because they took this drug, and they're the ones that are attacking people. Absolutely.
Right. And then also too, you also see this other scene on top of the bridge where you see somebody overlooking them.
Right.
Trying to get rid of the body. And my first initial thought was, I would have thought that they would have been smart to wear a mask while dumping the body. Not
true.
Because as careful as the father actually is, that's his big mistake. You're not going in there with a mask on. Even whenever he killed the best friend's father, you know what I'm talking about?
Frank.
And Frank. Whenever they kill Frank, he wasn't wearing a mask or anything, so he was able to identify him. Right. So that's the mistake that I see that he's making. Right. He's being careful, but at the same time, you're not being so careful because of the fact that people can identify you. Right. If you're going to do this, wear a mask.
Right.
Not saying I know how to do anything, people. I'm just saying.
It's like, wear a mask. One thing about the guy is, in episode 1, we find out that this guy who is following Mark actually works for Matthew. Is one of Matthew's henchmen. So he's been following Mark around since the first episode. And like you said, Mark's already been had. But yeah, you're not wearing a mask. You guys are dumping bodies as if nobody's going to be around. So it's very, very true. And towards the end, I love the fact, this is really sad when Ellie does catch up with Isaiah, and she's like, I heard you come in. You didn't text me. What's going on? And Isaiah's just heartbroken. You could tell something's wrong. And she's like, what's going on? If you want me to leave, I'll leave. He's like, no. And then he's like telling her, you got to tell me how you did that trick. You got to, or they're going to get me, basically. And she's like, what happened to you? And she lifts his shirt, he moves his sweater, and you see the poor kid is bruises all on his body, on his arm, and Ellie is pissed. So talk about our ending.
Okay, so this is the part that I was telling everyone about, where basically she doesn't know basically her own strength or anything like that. It's because of, what happened with her and her father. Well, anyways, she's pissed off. She goes over there, and I like how she does this thing where she lands softly on her feet whenever she jumps from a tree, and she's and this kid's on social media talking about the fact that he stole something.
Right.
Stupid jackass. I mean, I'm sorry. But anyways, he's over there acting like that is no big deal that he stole something, and then Allie's over there like, oh, okay, you stole something. Okay, I'm gonna let you keep on talking. Okay.
Right.
Then next thing you know, she lands on her feet, and then she goes, look, I saw what you did to Xavier. I do not like it. You need to stop bullying him. And she goes, and he's like, well, what if I don't? Well, if not, something's going to happen to you. Next thing you know, he flips her off. He breaks is a different term.
Yeah,
she tears his finger off.
Right.
So, and he runs off crying like a little. Wow. Well, right. So, yes. Yeah. So, and then she winds up, I like how at first she's like, you can see that she's about to run after him, and then she stops.
Right.
She's like, nah, I did enough. It was just to send a message. And then she takes her finger, takes a little thing of her blood, goes back home, probably takes a nap, and talks to her friend.
Right. I love that look on her face, because she's kind of like, and then has this smile on her face. And I was thinking, like, is she loving the fact that she has that power? I'm thinking, it's kind of like that,
I just feel like this. I think, now this is me thinking, I'm thinking it's not about the fact that she has the power. It's just the fact that she did something good for her friend.
True.
And also, too, knowing that these kids are not going to be bullying him anymore because of that.
Right.
Otherwise, there's going to be more than just a finger that's missing.
Absolutely.
But,
absolutely.
This is, and I also think that she's self-aware of the strength that she has now.
Right.
And that's why she's smiling too. It's like, oh, I have this strength that I didn't know I had before.
Right.
Okay. I don't get me wrong. I fought with my father, but damn, this is actually pretty good.
Right.
So she feels kind of like a badass a little bit,
right.
Definitely. But yeah.
So overall, I mean, what did you think? Are you going to continue watching the series? Like, what's your take after?
My question is this: when are you going to have me back again so I can talk about the rest of this? Because
I'm ready for you. I would love for you to join. You just let me know, and it's
happening. Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yes. Right. I like that.
Thank you.
I like that.
But yes, I love this show. I was hesitant at first because I'm like, I don't know if this is actually going to match up to what the movie was and having that separation. But once I dived into that second episode, when you know that the father accidentally kills Frank and didn't know that, well, didn't accidentally, but wasn't aware of the fact that he killed Frank and that was actually Xavier's father. Right. That's what hooked me. Right. I'm like, okay, I want to see how this plays out now.
Absolutely.
Because now you're having to be forced to stay in a place that you don't want to be at.
Right.
And now you're having to have a relationship with a police officer, and he wants some of that, though. I'm just going to say.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, you got that, too. You see what's going to go down there. You right. Get that relationship between the two of them, which is going to be messed up because he's not going to be able to fight that. Naomi is beautiful. She's intelligent. And you can tell that they like each other, but she's being hesitant because of, she's divorced, and of course he's, it's all about Ellie. One more thing though. What did you think about the fact that he denies himself food because Ellie can't eat?
I like that idea. But at the same time, whenever she invites them both, he goes, no, Ellie can't eat anything. I'm like, you don't tell that. That was, you just gave it just say, look, what are you having? Oh, okay, she can't have that. She's allergic to that. Right. But to say that she's allergic to everything makes her look like the little boy in a bubble where she basically can't eat anything.
Yeah.
So But I do like the fact that he is responsible as a father. It's like, look, I don't want to go on ahead. If my child can't eat, I can't eat either.
Right. Right. I was
And he's
shocked by
just,
that when I found that out.
it's a
Like,
matter of respect.
you know, he eats, you know, protein bars and stuff. And absolutely, because he can't sit around her and eat. And I get that. And I think him telling Naomi that I absolutely agree with you. Dude, why would you say that? That she can't eat anything? Because Naomi kind of gave him a look like she already thinks you're odd. You know what I mean? That something's not right. But her child loves your child so much, she's just letting those things go. But you know, he piques, you know, her interest, you know.
Yeah, most definitely.
So, well, guys, listen, that's it for this episode. Next week, guys, I'm going to go live on Tuesday because I'm going to have the actor and producer Eric Quells on the show for an interview. And it's going to be Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday at 7 o'clock. And John, what do you have planned for the week?
Okay, so I actually have a full week of nothing but Christmas movies lined up.
Ooh.
So, okay, so let me get my schedule out because I actually made the schedule out today.
Nice.
So this is me looking at everything for next week. So the 12th, I don't have anything yet as of right now. But Friday, I have, Thursday, on the 15th, I actually have the Home Alone 2 review that we're doing with Alex and I. Nice. And that's going to be, of course, at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Then on the 14th, let's see. The 14th, I actually have, well, 5th, I don't know. Just, look, my stuff is all scrambled up. But I promise you this. I do have Beth on from Made for Movie TV podcast coming on the 15th. Now, that is a definite. I do have her coming in on the 15th to do a Grumpy Old Men review.
Wow, okay.
And on that Friday, too, on that week, I have another podcaster, and we're going to be talking about this other movie called The Family Man with Nicolas Cage, and that, of course, is also at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. And that's going to be Look at Back podcast. I believe that's the name of it. Okay. It's actually the Back Look Cinema podcast is what it's called.
Okay.
So that's everything that you guys need to know that we're doing over here at Movie Lovers Unite.
Also, guys, I want to let you know things are busy, you know, with work as well. So if I can, also next week on Wednesday, if I can, we'll review episodes 4 and 5. So what we're going to do is we're going to double up. Okay. So we can get through it and move along because we may be doing a Christmas show with the rest of the guys from Movie Lovers Unite, Charlie Widman, Alex Haynes from A-Town Alex, and John DiGregorio. Okay. So that will come soon. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to double up. All right. On the episode.
It's going to be called, we're doing is we're combining Christmas and Thanksgiving. Awesome. And we're calling it Thanksmas.
Thanksmas. Okay. So you'll get to see the rest of us, the rest of our co-hosts all together on Movie Lovers Unite. Okay. So that's coming soon. Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. All that good stuff. We'll see you next week, guys.
See you.